Good afternoon, everybody, and happy holidays! I'm still continuing the Christmas 2025 movie week for 25 days, plus one. So today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on a very special Tom Hanks movie called The Polar Express. Now, I assume you guys have already heard of this movie before, thanks to other people on YouTube talking about it, or at least saw clips of this movie at some point. But just in case you guys want to know what this movie is all about, just in case you haven't seen it, or even heard of it in general, here's the description. Get up, get on, and get ready for the ride of your life. It's Christmas Eve, and you're about to roller coaster up and down mountains, slip slide over ice fields, teeter across a mile-high bridges, and be served hot chocolate by singing waiters more astonishing than you can imagine. You're on the Polar Express. Tom Hanks stars and Robert Zemeckis directs this instant holiday classic, filmed in dazzling performance captured animation that makes every moment magical. Seeing is believing, says a mysterious hobo who rides the rails with you. You see wonders, and you believe. All aboard! Sorry, I couldn't resist. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this was also one of those movies that I haven't seen in a very long time. And I do mean very long time. I remember seeing this movie before, probably couple of years ago. Either during my elementary school days or my middle school days. I don't know. It's been all I know that it's been years. So after watching it for the very first time this year, this is actually pretty entertaining and very special. It does have a very interesting plot with a beginning, middle, and end. The animation is pretty much spot on okay. Although it almost looks like watching a live-action movie. The characters are quite relatable, and I do like the songs in this movie. I mean, this movie does include some public domain songs like Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is coming to town, and deck the halls with bells of holly, fa la 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 la. But this movie does have some original songs like the Polar Express and hot, hot, hot. We like it hot, hot, hot chocolate. Yeah, for some reason that's one of the things I like about this movie, because that hot chocolate song really has quite a rhythm to it, beat even. I mean, that's like the type of song you would hear. That's like the type of song you would hear on a live stage Broadway show. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if there's ever going to be a Polar Express live stage show and that song will be used. I mean, okay. I know the idea of doing a live stage adaptation of The Polar Express will be impossible to pull off, and that it might never ever happen at some point. But you never know, because if they do, it'll be pretty unique to see how that would turn out. But aside from that, yeah, this movie is quite interesting. It stars this cute little boy named, okay, they didn't actually give the character an actual name. They just called him the Hero Boy. and he sort of had trouble believing in things, mainly Santa Claus. So I'm guessing he's sort of like Ebenezer Scrooge, but he's less of a cranky old geezer and more of a curious kid in a nutshell. So in a nutshell, he's kind of a curious little kid who may or may not have his doubts about Santa being real or not. Although he will end up finding out later that seeing is believing when he goes on this magical Christmas adventure to the North Pole and gets into all sorts of wacky shenanigans along the way. Like he keeps encountering this hobo a couple of times, played by Tom Hanks, who will often give the hero boy some advice about what he should believe in, and not let his guard down and whatnot. Yeah, and believe it or not only that Tom Hanks plays the hobo, Tom Hanks also plays the conductor and Santa Claus himself. And he also plays the hero boy's father. So I guess you could say this is the first time that Tom Hanks gets to play multiple roles in one movie. Now, you gotta give the man credit for playing multiple roles in one movie. Pretty rare when you think about it. I mean, it's one thing to be a voiceover actor to do voices for multiple cartoons, like Mel Blanc, Tara Strong, Cree Summer, Frank Welker, Greg Griffin, and so many more, for example. But you can really tell that Tom Hanks really did his best to play each character. Even though some of the characters he would voice would technically be played by other... They would be performed by other actors, technically. Sorry about that. So I guess you could say that Tom Hanks actually had some assistance when playing these other characters, other than the conductor. Now, whenever the hobo is on screen, I always get a little bit of a chuckle out of him from time to time. Although, in my opinion, it probably would have been cool if they had, like, I don't know, maybe Jim Carrey or Mike Myers or Tom Kenny to play the role of the hobo. I mean, no disrespect to Tom Hanks. He does a very good job playing the hobo in this movie, as well as the other characters I mentioned in this movie, but can you imagine if the hobo was played by either Mike Myers, Jim Carrey, or Tom Kenny? I mean, I'm sure the movie would have been different, but just imagine if either one of those guys did their own performance as the hobo. I mean, I'm sure it would have been sure, it would have been a little bit difficult to contact them, but you never know. Another thing I like about this movie is the somewhat animation in this movie, because I think this movie uses motion capture, where they would animate the actors playing the characters on screen, where everything in the movie looks very realistic but a little bit uncanny-like. And they really made it look like we're watching a live-action movie, even though the entire film is technically meant to be animated. It is quite groundbreaking when you think about it. It is quite groundbreaking for the animators to pull out all those stops. I actually do like the location of where this movie takes place. I mean, it mostly takes place, I think about 70 or 80% of the movie. I think either 70, 80, or 90-ish% of the movie takes place in the North Pole, which I will admit looks pretty breathtaking. mainly Santa's village. I mean, it looks like it. Imagine. Can you imagine visiting Santa's village at some point? I mean, I'm not sure if it exists in real life, but it will be pretty neat to visit Santa's place once in a while. As long as you're good. Now, I'm actually glad the hero boy made some friends. The know-it-all girl and Billy. They were like the three musketeers. Members of the Justice League. Or members of Scooby-Doo and Mystery Incorporated. They always stood with each other whenever they're in a bit of a situation. Like how they accidentally got disconnected from the rest of the train when they arrive at the village. And they even stumble across some of the elves checking the naughty and nice list in Santa's workshop. And when you look at the monitors, it looks like they used some live-action kids for that little scene. Just thought I'd point that out. I mean, to be fair, I can't blame the kids. I can't blame the kids for being curious. But aside from that, I honestly think the Polar Express is very, very entertaining and quite enjoyable. And sure, maybe you guys might have your own opinions on this movie, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I mean, sure, maybe the animation might look a little bit unsettling, and maybe it can be a little bit corny at times. But you know what? Since it is the holiday season, I'm gonna forgive this movie for its for those only two flaws, because it is the holiday season after all, and I can still enjoy this movie from time to time. And I guess you guys can still have a good time too. And I think the movie is now 20 years old, if I'm correct. So anyways, I honestly think The Polar Express is a fantastic holiday movie. And that's no lie, if you know what I mean. So I'll give this movie 5 Polar Express trains out of 5. Because that's how wonderful this movie is. Oh, and before I go, I noticed that in the credits it was dedicated to Michael Jeter. That's spelled Jeter. I mean, I am somewhat familiar with him. He played Mr. Noodle's brother, Mr. Noodle, in some of the Elmo's World segments, which is actually pretty interesting. And I'm guessing Michael Jeter probably has some involvement with this movie at some point. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. So anyways, what do you guys think about this movie? Do you guys have any fond memories of this? Just let me know down in the comments below. And stay tuned for more holiday-themed movie reviews just like this later this month. And sorry that I sound a little bit funny. I just have a bit of a stuffy nose. Don't you hate it when that happens?